All right, welcome and thanking you indeed for being here with us. It's Morning Spring. In the last couple of days, about 6 days thereabout, it's been protests concerning in bad governance in Nigeria has gone viral over the last 6 days. This has been something that has been spoken about by critical stakeholders. Had quite a whole lot, had quite a whole lot of people coming to say this is not this is something that should be done. Some have said critically, no, at this point in time, not to actually heat up the politics so that certain things will not be done. There's been condemnations, there's been commendations, both left and right and center. It's we've seen protests in certain states, majorly the southwestern states of our dear nation Nigeria. It has been but going up and north, it hasn't. We've had destructions, burnings, killings, lootings as such. This is not how a peaceful protest should actually look like. And very shortly, we're actually going to take a cue from here in Osun State of how it went, how government has been able to manage this, and a couple of other things we will be discussing on the show. We'll take a report from our in-house correspondent reporter, Joseph Atewe, was on the streets of Oshogbo, and he brings us this report. Stay with us.
The nationwide hunger protest continued in Oshogbo, the state capital today, with youths in their number seen carrying placards with different inscriptions, while some danced through the journey. The protest, which entered day 6 today, saw the youth first gather at the usual venue, which is Old Garage, then marched through Olaya, Bodofon, Ogolua, with the final destination, the state secretariat, Abere. They chanted their demands as they moved, while some were seen calling on residents to join the peaceful protest, stating that it is time the federal government listened. When they got to the state secretariat, they demanded to see the governor so they can hand over their detailed request to him. While they waited, one of their leaders, Mr. Ajala David, says they won't give up as the residents of the state have taken the End Bad Governance protest serious and he believes the president will do the needful as their voices get louder.
At this time, because the Osun State citizens have taken this matter serious, and it is clear and it's very audible to the deaf that what we are here to do is about the concern of the citizens of Nigeria, and most especially Osun State. If you look at it from first day to sixth day, this is the sixth day, and only this time that we see the governor, the deputy governor, coming out with the SSG to come and attend to us. And as a matter of fact, it is not a one-man thing. We have leaders across different boards who have come together to, tender their aggravations.
Also addressing journalists was Comrade Wale Adebisi, who disclosed that they would continue with their protest until the president sees reasons to answer the requests. He further disclosed that with the president's address on Sunday, which he says was annoying, the protest might continue even after the 10 days
given.
People
will continue to be out. And not only beyond today, people will still come out. Simply because the president of Nigeria, in his address, has not addressed the request of the protesters. He has not come out to address concretely what the protesters are demanding for. And then that means he's not ready to negotiate with anybody. He's not ready to meet their demands. And that the suffering continues. The suffering continues. People must continue to then the protests continue. When the suffering continues, the protest must continue until the president will see the reason for him to at least meet part of those demands urgently. Then it will douse the tension.
After waiting for some minutes, the deputy governor of the state, Prince Kola Dewusi, accompanied by the secretary to the state government, Honorable Teslim Igbalaye, finally spoke to the protesters. While speaking, the deputy governor thanked the youth for their good conduct in the last 6 days, stating that it is very commendable. He also disclosed that the governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, would deliver their request to the president at the next NEC meeting in Abuja. The deputy also stated that the Osun State government have them at heart, hence they would continue to listen to them and ensure their progress.
The governor said he appreciates you all, and he would like you to take this in right manner. The governor appreciates you all, I mean, for the way you conducted the whole thing. As for the request submitted to the government, I can assure you all that the governor will write an accompanying letter to be presented at the next meeting that these are the requests of the youth in Osun State, and this will be presented to the federal government.
The End Bad Governance protests have now been suspended in Osun State as announced by the organizers of the protest this evening. According to the organizers, some of the reason the protest was suspended was for them to have more time to re-strategize and because of the Osun Shogbo Festival, which they say is part of their culture and heritage. Joseph Atewe, Western Spring Television News.
Thank you for being there, and that's what it looks like right here in Osun State. Just as we rightly told you, it's been very, very peaceful. Just hope, as much as it's been on hold, suspended either way, it remains peaceful, and we would like to really, really use the opportunity to thank protesters who were on the various streets in Osun State for really doing justice to the peaceful nature of what the protest should look like. So thank you to you, and not leaving out the security agencies. Yeah. They did fantastically well here in Osun State. Big ups to them and thumbs ups to them. But some have said, how did they manage this? How was this able to be managed? How the government managed this process? It's something we want to talk about on the show this morning. Evelyn?
All right, so we have our guests already, one virtual, one live in the studios. Let's start with Mr. Ismail Omipidan, who is the APC Chieftain and spokesperson to the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, is joining us virtually from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, this morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Omipidan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Evelyn. Good morning, Mr. ID.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure joining you.
And right here in the studios, we have Honorable Olabode Bamiji, Senior Special Assistant Media to Osun State Governor. He is live with us in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you very much, my good brother, my friend. Thank you, Nigerians. Good morning, Mr. Omipidan. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, so
Good morning, brother.
Okay, let's just begin with what led to this protest in the first instance before even coming to Osun State. Mr. Ismail Omipidan, you are with the ruling party, and it seems that in just roughly about 1 year that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, things have gone south with the people. It seemed to be unpopular with the people, especially when it comes to hunger in the land. People feel that he is not doing the right things to ensure that hunger reduces in the land. And also there's this hashtag end bad governance. They think the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is bad. How do you react to this?
Thank you very much. You see, in analyzing bad governance, we have to put it in proper perspective. We have to put it in context. Because when you talk about bad governance, what are the indices of bad governance? And it is when you extract the indices of bad governance, you now look at the current administration in the last 1 year or so. Can we categorically itemize those features of bad governance? That is one. Two, it is not correct to say that the government is no longer popular with the people. If you say some people, I would agree with you, but it is not correct to generalize. The point I'm trying to make is this. Can anyone, in all honesty, come forward to tell me what any of those who contested against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have done differently in the current circumstances, especially considering that whether it is hunger you are talking about, whether it is climate change you are talking about, is not peculiar to our climate. Is it inflation you are talking about? It's not peculiar to Nigeria. Go and check the statistics in UK. Check that of US. Check that of Ghana. And so you agree with me that whatever is happening in Nigeria is global. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. However, in the past, we have scratched some of our own challenges on the surface without getting into the nitty-gritty. And for the first time, if you recall, in the build-up to the 2015 election, before 2015, there was a 2011 election. I attended one of the series of town hall meetings that were held in Kaduna in 2011, where we had the 16th Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, as the keynote speaker. In that town hall meeting, we had President Jonathan, who was then sitting president, seeking an election. We had Vice President Namadi Sambu. And he told them pointedly that it is time to decide whether we want to continue to empower a tiny few in the country or to empower the whole country. He was talking specifically about this evil called fuel subsidy. Unfortunately, by the time Jonathan became president, he made an attempt to remove the fuel subsidy. But like I said in most of my write-ups then and even now, he never had the courage to pull it through.
Mr. Omipidan, he never had the courage, or the current president, who was a national leader of the party then, were against. He led protests across Nigeria against the removal of fuel subsidy. If
you go to my Facebook page, whatever I'm saying now, you can confirm from it. Even as recent as 5-6 years ago, because this issue of subsidy debate also came up during the 2015 election. And I said it then that all those who fought against the subsidy removal in 2012 should be held responsible for whatever was happening to us in the build-up to the 2015 election. Because don't forget, in the build-up to the 2015 election, we still had this strong debate over issue of subsidy.
So are you saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be held responsible?
Why the current president was running for an election, he didn't mince war that he was going to remove fuel subsidy.
If I may come in here.
Unlike other previous presidents who never had the courage to say so. Because, you see, it's a different thing when you promise something during your campaign. It's a different thing for you to carry it out during the governance. Most of those who attempted removing fuel subsidy, including President Jonathan, never use it as a campaign tool. They never told us. But even at then, I, Ismail Omipidan, never supported the subsidy protest in 2012. And that is why even now, I cannot support fuel subsidy.
All right.
Now, let us even assume, without considering, that yes, they were opposed to it then. Perhaps having been confronted with superior arguments on why they should not be opposed to it, that was why he made it a campaign tool. I recall I attended this meeting with the NSC and the organized private sector in Lagos. He told them, say, if you like protest from now till tomorrow, I will remove fuel subsidy. So he made it very clear from day one that he was going that line.
All right.
Fortunately, all the other presidential candidates also told us they were going to remove it. So I asked again, Can anybody tell us, apart from this call of reversal to fuel subsidy, can anyone tell me how best the current situation should have been handled that the current president is not handling it? I listened to your report. Some of the protesters are saying that their concerns have not been addressed. If what they are waiting for is for the president to say he was going back to fuel subsidy, I, Ismail Omipidan, will not support such a stance.
All right.
In the past,
Mr. Omipidan, allow me to vote in
presidents
here.
are always
Mr.
afraid
Omipidan,
of taking
please allow
hard
me to
decisions
come
because
in
of
here.
next election. But President Tinubu, for once, has shown us that he is not concerned about the next election,
Mr. Omipidan,
but rather is concerned about the future of Nigeria. And that is why he has taken some of the decisions he has taken. And I believe very strongly that Nigerians will, in the long run, benefit from these necessary but painful decisions.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Now, before TD comes in, and also before we bring in Honorable Bamiji into the discussion, now you made mention of the fact that the 2012 protest, you were strongly against it, and the people that were the proponents of these protests should be held accountable for what happened in 2012. I asked the question, are you saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be held responsible and accountable for moving the nation 10 years backwards? Because if the fuel subsidy had been removed in 2012, probably we will not be where we are today. And there was not a time the president came out to apologize to the citizens for leading that protest at the time. In fact, the former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Fayemi, said that it was a political agenda at the time, that they knew that the fuel subsidy had to go, but it was all politics, and he said it with a very big laugh. And it's laughable because people think that the All Progressives Congress is taking Nigerians for a fool. So I'll just ask you that question before TD comes in.
I don't think so. You see, Evelyn, there are times, there are situations that makes what was inevitable. Let me put it this way. By yesterday, you are confronted with certain options to take a decision. Perhaps as at the time you were making your mind to take that decision yesterday, based on the information available to you, you probably would have taken what many may have considered the wrong decision as at yesterday. But when you are confronted with superior argument today, and you now weigh your position yesterday, and you now decided based on superior argument, based on further and better information, to reverse your position of yesterday. I think you should be commended for being courageous.
Was it about superior arguments to President Tinubu, or it was about who removed the subsidy?
To take your position. I don't speak for APC. I don't speak for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Although I speak for His Excellency Adegboge Oyetola, but as far as this program is concerned, I am speaking for myself, and whatever I say, I should be heard for it. So I cannot here confirm or deny whatever Kayode Fayemi may have said.
Well, is it about Mr. Omipidan, please, because we have to come to Honorable Bamiji in this
I never supported fuel subsidy. Even though I was practicing as a journalist then, I wasn't on a leave of absence like this. In spite of that, my position then has not even changed today. So hold me accountable for whatever I say, and don't tie me to anyone.
If you can do this in 30 seconds, please. Is it about the superior argument that President Tinubu now has after he has gotten the reins of power? Or it's about his ego?
It's about
Let me finish, sir. Let me finish. But it's about his ego of who was bold enough to remove the fuel subsidy. Was it about superior argument, or about it was a Tinubu that was bold enough to remove the fuel subsidy?
I didn't get that.
I said, is it about superior arguments, which you alluded to earlier, that President Tinubu has superior arguments now that he's president to remove the fuel subsidy, or it's about the ego of it was a Tinubu that removed or was bold enough to remove the fuel subsidy, and not a weak Jonathan?
It's not, you see, it's not about ego. You see, that was why I was telling you about circumstances. If you recall very well, in the build up to the 2011 election, presidential election, there was no consensus of opinion as to whether this subsidy should go or not. Same thing in 2015, while President Jonathan was hammering on the fact that fuel subsidy should go, Buhari was saying, well, it's a fraud, but he did not come out forcefully to say whether it was going to go or not. But in 2023, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who was the candidate of PDP, His Excellency Peter Obi, who was the candidate of Labour Party, and the current president, who was the candidate of APC, it was only, I think, Kwankwaso, the candidate of NNPP, that was not too clear as to whether he was going to remove fuel subsidy or not. But these other three presidential candidates made it very, very clear that they were going to. In fact, His Excellency Peter Obi said that if he was sworn in today, the thing will go the next day. So for me, I don't think it's about ego. It's about superior argument, and they need to secure the future of Nigeria. Because if you listen to the president broadcast, he told us that before the removal, they were servicing debt with 97% of our revenue, 97%. But since the removal, it has come down to 68%. For me, that's a significant improvement.
Okay.
Unless you want us to continue to borrow to pay salaries. Otherwise, there's no how anybody interested in the future of this country will support our reversal to fuel subsidy.
All right. Thank you, Alhaji Ismail Omipidan. Thanking you indeed. Please just stay with us as well. Let me just come to Honorable Bamiji in the studio with us. Thanking you indeed for your patience on the show this morning. I want to talk about Osun State and how well government has been able to actually see to it that we had a peaceful protest here in Osun State. But for you as a person, you as a Nigerian, the president spoke a couple of days ago, and there's been commendations, there's been condemnations. Somebody like where you have someone like Professor Wole Soyinka speak, that's a voice speaking. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Ambassador Yemi Farounbi, quite a whole lot of Nigerians spoke. But for you, what do you make of that broadcast on that fateful day?
Thank you very much. And once again, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Osun State. I first of all want to convey the gratitude of His Excellency, the Governor of Osun State, Asiwaju Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke, to our youths, who are the leaders of the protest, for their comportment, for their love for the state. Because no agitation, if I want to borrow the language of our former president Goodluck Jonathan, no ambition of anyone is worth the blood of anyone. And again, here, no agitation of anyone is also worth the blood of anyone. If we have lost a soul here, that soul cannot be brought back on the basis of any kind of agitation or protest. So we want to thank our youths who have tried to domesticate the agitation within the principles of what is obtainable, what they can see in Osun State. But as patriots, they also have to join their voices with the rest of Nigeria. So we want to commend them on behalf of the state governor, who is the leader of the state today. Yes, the president broadcast. Most of what I will say here, perhaps, is my own opinion as a protesting youth too, as in Nigeria. Because even as I'm in government, I know how I'm being burnt on daily basis, even this morning, by request here and there. So I can readily attest to the fact that yes, people are hungry. And when you are hungry, you will be hungry. And the only thing I know that unite people the most is this hunger. You hardly can break people who are united on the threshold of hunger. It is virtually impossible. I doubt if the organizers have been so pragmatic enough to be able to organize the level of reaction of Nigerian youths to this protest. For the first time in Nigerian history, we have youth, even from the north. It has always been like it has always been like an unwritten law that don't protest in the north. We are not used to that. Today, in fact, those of us from the south are even praying that I beg, our people in the north, please take it easy. That is what we have in the present day Nigeria. It's like we are all united from the east to the north to the west. That means something has united Nigerians against their plight in the country. So I don't know, as we have seen, as we have heard, if Mr. President, our own Baba, in this part of the country, has really addressed the plight of Nigeria with that broadcast, because that is your question.
Yes.
I am not sure. You see, I was live on another platform yesterday, that it is where we are here now is what we can call the moment of truth. That you cannot even you cannot just try the way to shy away from. It is the moment to listen as a leader. If you are good enough to be a leader of men, you should be good enough to listen to them. If you don't listen, your history will be debased, will be defaced. That's not how much that's not how much smart you are, how dexterous you might be in your smartness. The country of this 21st century going forward is not the same as the Nigeria of 1999, when this political dispensation took off. And our leaders must be conversant, must be aware of that, if we all want to succeed.
Are you saying Mr. President is not a listening leader?
I'm not sure he has listened enough.
I'm not sure. Listen further.
Yes, it's not. It's your bandit, it's your baloko here. Our dear brother here has demonstrated why our Baba, the Asiwaju of Lagos, the president of Nigeria, has appeared not listening enough. Sorry, Nigeria, my voice, I'm not that well too, but I have to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You understand?
Yes, please.
So, the president will appear not listening enough because of my brother here.
Why?
Who said previously he was not comfortable with fuel subsidy removal, but now he's comfortable without any cogent reason other than being bold enough.
It's had superior argument.
Being bold enough and with superior argument.
Exactly.
The superior argument, you will ask me, or we all have to ask ourselves, if you are not a journalist, you should also be on the street, because you are also in Nigeria as a youth. That, what is the superior argument? Yes, you say you cannot say you have a plan without the consequential plans. You know you want to remove fuel subsidy. But alas, you don't evidently have anything to mitigate, to ameliorate the suffering of Nigerians that you must know. You don't even have to walk around it, you don't have to dance around it. You must know that, yes, there will be pains accompanying this, and you are not. All the governors, I know what my brother here will land at. He will land at blaming the subnationals headed by the state governors. That is the logic. And that is why Nigerian youth especially, have moved beyond. I hope in his own little cocoon that he will be able to communicate with his principal. He has made it clear to us that he is not speaking for the president. I agree with that. He's even looking like a cowboy now. My very fine boy. You understand? You should talk to our minister. The minister of blue economy.
Yeah.
To talk to his own principal that Nigerians are not happy because we didn't have plan prior to the removal of the fuel subsidy, because that is the crush of the matter. So when the president was removing the fuel subsidy on the altar of his inauguration as president of Nigeria on May 29, 2022, it didn't appear. 2023, I'm sorry, that it didn't appear that he had any plan. So
you feel he had put the cart before the horse?
Yes, yes, as a president of a federating unit. Yeah. We are practicing federal system of government in Nigeria. He should have waited a bit. He shouldn't have been in a hurry in his own ecstasy as taking over as president of Nigeria. All right, he should have called.
To play the devil's advocate here, I listened to, or I watched the press conference by one of his ministers, Mr. Dele Alake, where he said that people say that the president removed the fuel subsidy with a fiat. And he said if the president had not removed the fuel subsidy when he did, then probably by now we'll still be debating on whether to remove it, whether not to remove it, and the nation will continue to be plunged into economy quagmire.
The word fiat, my dear sister, is known with military government. Don't let us. It is, yes, we have borrowed so much from our military government experience in Nigeria. You don't do anything with fiat ordinarily in a democratic, in a constitutional democracy. You have to lobby, you have to engage in dialogue, which is what I was trying to paint. The president should have waited instead of standing on the podium of his inauguration, and even as a way of digression, because it wasn't even in his inaugural address. If you go and read again from head to toe of that inaugural address, the president just felt like, yes, I'm not the president. Buhari has moved away from Asofila. And so I have to say, the fuel subsidy is gone. And before you know it, before you made mention of any jack, fuel station began to close. And that is the factum, that is the genesis, the main genesis. And that is the economic nerve. That is the breathing nerve of our economy in Nigeria. Don't just let us play around it.
You've taken us to the level at which, yes, it's going to be part of our discussion, conversation today. Mr. Omipidan, please stay on the line as well. Let's just look at how well things have been going in Osun State. And in spite of what it looks like in Nigeria today, there's hunger in the land. Prices of food items is very, very expensive. Nigerians are not having it easy, just like us here in Osun State. It's just, but then maybe at the end of today, we'll probably take our mattresses to HOB's house. But on a serious note, what's been the initiative of Osun State government? What are they doing? What is the amiable government of His Excellency Governor Ademola Adeleke doing to ensure that food prices in Osun State comes down?
My brother, there are some, don't let us get this thing wrong. There are some policies of government.
Yes, please. Within
the principles of the kind of government we are practicing in Nigeria. I said federal system of government. There are economic policies, monetary policies especially, that the state government cannot, does not or do not have any power over.
How do you mean?
And that part of it is what I just mentioned. It is not the state governors that regulate the fuel prices anyway. And that is why I felt the president, even in a democratic setting, felt like on my inauguration podium, I can just remove fuel by the force of a fiat without consulting with the NEC, National Economic Council, without consulting with the Council of State Meeting, comprising of the governors and all the rest, critical stakeholders. What is happening in Osun State? What do we have in Edo? What do we have in Kaduna? Where they are now hoisting Russian flag from their anger.
Which is treason.
Kano, Sokoto, Zamfara. Because you cannot be everywhere without consulting with anyone. That's why I said you should have waited. Let us aggregate workable plans, feasible plans of each state, and let us plan ahead. It is often easy for political commentators like my brother Omipidan here in Nigeria to link our kind of governance here, or to lay example of the likes of Britain, US, Germany, and the rest of the Western world. But between me and you, in those places, you don't even need your car to move around.
Yeah.
The rail system is working. And I'm not sure whether you are on national grid as we speak. You might be on diesel. All right? Power supply is close to zero.
All right.
So, if we want to liken ourselves, our economy, to those places, we must also at least do some things to be close, if not at par with what is obtainable over there. Let us also plan something close to them, because that is the crux of what is happening. Our people will continue to agitate. Even if we plan everything, like our state governor has done here, to appeal to the protesters. They have just suspended their protest yesterday in Osun State. That is in favor of federal government of Nigeria, because the protest is not against Osun State.
All what you have said, they are valid. Before we move over to Mr. Omipidan, right there on the screen, we are talking about, all what you said, like I said, is valid, but we are talking about what the state government is doing. Osun State is known, some people say it's a civil service state, but then they say we have land mass that we can use for agriculture. And if we can produce what we eat and export to other states, probably we will not be, singing there's hunger in the land in Osun State. And also with the fact that FAC allocation given to Osun State,
has increased.
Close to a year now, has doubled, almost doubled. And in the president's broadcast on Sunday, he made mention of a 570 billion naira grant to be given to states. I'd like to know if Osun State has gotten theirs. And also the 20 trucks of rice to be shared. I want to know if it is in Osun State and what the government is doing with it. I want it very brief because I need to move over to
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I also want my brother, my friend, Omipidan, to speak. Because we are all Nigerians now.
Yeah, he will.
And I want him to be as patriotic as possible. Your people, you are in Abuja. Look at your face. Very, very beautiful way, man. Only Evelyn we can use beautiful to describe. Your people in Inila, as we speak, are they smiling as you are smiling?
Mr. Omipidan, you can respond to him.
Later I will respond. It's my friend.
Okay.
This is not about PDP or APC. I was speaking with you yesterday. This is not about politics. People are united in hunger. Wait, the 43,000 bags of corns, rye, or maize, or gari, that is purportedly being brought to this state. My sister, may Nigerians in Osun State not become beggars in their own land? If let's even say, let us satisfy our people in the state capital alone. Let us even say, don't let us take it to Irabigi, don't let us take it to Yede.
Yeah.
Let us say 43,000 bags is to be distributed in Osogbo alone. How many households will get that?
Are you saying that it's just 43 bags?
43,000?
That is the thing.
For 3,000 or 43 bags in the 20 trucks of rice?
Yeah, that is all together. What
Well,
the content? The content.
43 bags or 43,000 bags?
No, not just 43. I'm telling you what is contained, like as I have.
Oh, okay. In each of the trucks?
Yes, in all the trucks.
Okay.
Either gari or corn.
Okay. Well, have you received it?
We have not received all. Because the state, we have to get this clear. The state is also being charged for it.
How?
Osun State, as we speak, is being charged 67,000 plus. The Ministry of Information, 67 million, has made it clear last week.
To pick up those items?
I don't know whether those items are being sold to us, or that's just the only charge.
So
you understand?
Are you saying that
they are
not free of charge? Is that what you're saying?
It is not. Summarily, what I want to say, based on my own opinion, is that the state government, the state governors especially, have tried to play ball. Quote mine. That word is mine. That they are trying to play ball with His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, to make Nigeria better. It is easy for us here. I have instruction of my governor not to do anything to attack Mr. President, because he's our president today, whether we like it or not. But don't let us do anything on the basis of politics to kill those who we are governing. Who we are governing.
All right.
So for us, those items have not been brought fully to Osun State because everything was set on it, the FCC, the ICPC, to make sure that the thing is distributed. And we have nothing to hide ab initio.
And it's not going to be a party thing that
it has never been party basis something.
Okay.
The state government has set up a committee previously that comprising of religious bodies, labor leaders, every segment of the populace, to look into this and see to the distribution. That is why I said that we should even be thankful to the head of subnationals in Nigeria that they have been cooperating with Mr. President, and Mr. President, alongside his advisors like Mr. Omipidan, should not take the governors for granted.
Okay, we have to move
because
to Mr.
they have
Omipidan
their people
right
too
now.
to talk to.
We are pressed for time, so we have to move to Mr. Omipidan. You have heard all what he said, and the chief of them all is where he says that the federating units, the state government, they do not control or regulate food prices. So it might be hard, their hands might be tied to do something when it comes to reducing hunger in the land. I'd like you to respond to this and some of what he said.
Thank you very much. Let me start this way. I don't know why Bamiji is so obsessed about my person. Where I'm speaking from, at the risk of sounding immodest, to God be the glory. I built this house over 10 years ago with my sweat. Therefore, if I'm looking good today, it's as a result of the labor that I have done in the past. And I pray that every human being who does hard work will reap the fruits of their labor. That is one. Two, I'm happy that you asked him a simple question, and rather than lay before the public what the state government is doing, he ended up telling stories that really do not add up. And the only reason why we do that, two reasons why we do that is one, it is either he has no information as to what the government is doing in the state, or perhaps the government has not done anything, and therefore he has nothing to say. Otherwise, it's a simple question. What are you doing? Let me attempt to help him. You recall that in February this year, I was on your sister radio, Rape FM, alongside my good older brother, Honorable Olabode Alimi. We were discussing about this same issue of fuel subsidy. And I recall that I did say that as at April-May 2023, before the Buhari's administration left office, what was shared as federal allocation was a little over 700 billion. However, by June of the same year, they shared 1.1 trillion. And since then, that has been the trend. Now, I want to say with all sense of modesty that if fuel subsidy had not been removed, the rate at which we were going, the man speaking to us from the studio today may probably not have a salary being paid in the last 3-4 months because there will be no money to pay that salary. Most of the states, including Osun, rely heavily on federal allocation to do some of the few things they are doing. I recall about 3 weeks ago, we had a debate back and forth between myself and the state government, specifically Honorable Olabode Alimi and Olawale Rashid. And I asked them a simple question, that if indeed they were serious about production in Osun, if indeed they were serious about developing the economy in Osun, what would be the rationale to budget a paltry 3.5 billion for Ministry of Agri and then budget over 13 billion for the office of the governor? The argument brought forward by both Honorable Olabode Alimi and Olawale Rashid was that there were 15 agencies under the office of the governor. And I went further to challenge them to name those 15 agencies. After dilly-dallying, Honorable Olabode Alimi was only able to name 9 parastatals. Even at that, I went further to challenge him. How much did each of these so-called agencies spend that will make the governor's office spend more than what it budgeted for in the first quarter of 2024? Till this morning, they have not come back with a response. I went further to challenge them to please tell me, to please show me just one tractor that they had bought. There was no response until about a week ago when they started showing us videos of some tractors. Well, fine, if those tractors were actually purchased, and they tell us the cost of those tractors, and they tell us where those tractors are as we speak, and they also tell us how come it is when any season is about going that they are not thinking about investment in agriculture. Again, go back to the promises of the governor when he was campaigning. He told us he was going to bring in Zimbabwe farmers because he believed that Osun was an agrarian community. The governor is close to 19 months in office. I am not sure if you have seen a single Zimbabwe farmer in Osun. Again, they claim they have blocked loopholes, they have blocked leakages. But I tell you, go and look at their budget performance reports, look at their audited accounts. In their budget performance report, they claim that their IGR was 35 billion.
Mr. Omipidan,
But in the audited account,
we are
what was
pressed
added
for
was
time.
21 billion.
We have just limited time.
Can they account for the discrepancy in their about 12.1 billion? So obviously, the truth is that if the subnationals were deploying the resources available to them judiciously, the cry about hunger will not be as loud as it is today.
Mr.
If you look at
let me just
some of the protesters, particularly the Jiadenaju and several of them, go and look at what they say. They are also blaming Mr. President for releasing those humongous amount of money to state governors.
All right, great. Now, let me just take it up from there, Mr. Omipidan, please, because of the want of time,
is
sir.
the flyover they are building in Osun to improvement in agriculture in Osun.
Mr. Omipidan, looking at what the HOB has said here as well, and concerning what the federal government has distributed, should the federal government still, because he said they have been able to spend about 67 million naira on those trucks to go and pick those food items. It's just about the fact that they are paying for those items being brought to be given out. Is that what the federal government should be doing? And isn't that a means of pushing the effect of hunger in the land, and most especially in Osun State?
If you check what the Information Commissioner and those other commissioners said on Saturday, for me, it appears contradictory to what my brother there is saying. But let us leave it at that. Is it 65 million? Is it 65 or 67 million that we use to pay for over 20 trucks of grains and what have you? Is that the cost? You see, let us stop belaboring ordinary issues. The truth is that Osun State government has not demonstrated capacity to govern that state.
All right.
Look,
we have to go, Mr. Omipidan. Sadly,
the type of money that are in their hands today.
Sadly, we have to go, Mr. Omipidan. It's time
today
for us to leave the studios.
I think this conversation is it's not ending. We'll probably find time again. As much as I know that both of you are very busy set of people, but I would like to thank you most sincerely because of you had to find time to be with us on the show today at a very short notice. It's not going to be. We'll continue with this because we all want to all live happily and hunger away from the land. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Ismail Omipidan, the Chief Press Secretary to the Honorable Minister for the Blue Marines and Economy. Thanking you indeed. I will speak with you and we'll find time for us all to do this again. Mr. Omipidan, thank you most sincerely. And they say you're looking like a fine boy. Oh, you're a fine boy.
A cowboy.
A cowboy.
I think you should take that as a compliment.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm not putting on a hat.
Honorable
Bamiji, we would like to thank you.
I thank you for the compliment.
Yes,
I want to come to Abuja too.
Honorable Olabode Bamiji, thank you so much for your time this morning.
I beg that let us talk to the authorities of this platform to extend our this thing. Yes. For us, there's no way you want to defend the present quagmire without sounding being confused. There's just no way.
Okay.
That is why I give it to my brother. It is not easy to defend lies. It is just not easy. And I believe Nigerians are listening to him.
All right. Is your government has been defending lies, and they have not been able to come forward to defend most of the lies they put before the public.
Look at is there, even in his own room, contradicting himself.
It's okay, gentlemen. We just have to go. Our directors are really saying that we have to go. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Olabode Bamiji, the Senior Special Assistant on Media to Osun State Governor. Thank you so much for coming to the studios this morning.
It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, people, that is the show this morning. It was really a very interesting conversation. We'll make a return tomorrow for another interesting time. Until then, remember that this country, Nigeria, is for you and I. And the highest office in the land is the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Do good use of that office. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei.
Thank you to the entire transmission and production team for being here and doing the needful with us this morning, and to our guests for coming on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Stay blessed. Let's do the needful. Tunde Idowu is my name. Good morning.